Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. I think I'm having a little technical outage here. I don't know if anybody can still hear me or not. There we go. We're back. All right. Alike, we need to, there we go. We're cutting in and out here. It looks like I'm having some unstable internet access. So sorry about that. All right, you guys, vhubapp.com. The best part about with what they have, you guys get paid to move their trailers for them. All right. So if you're a solo truck or a small fleet and one of your trailers are in the shop, now you don't have to shut your operation down. You don't have to lose out on all that revenue. And then again, the best part is you get paid to move these trailers. So what they're working on right now, you guys, Glade Spring, Virginia to Delta, British Columbia, you get paid $18.50 to move this. That is on top of the revenue that you get by loading out that trailer. They also have West Valley City, Utah, going up to Calgary, Alberta. You get $15.50 to do that. They have San Diego going to Houston, Texas, $1,200 to do that. They also have Macomb, Mississippi to Brighton, Colorado. You get $1,200 to move that one. And then finally, they have Paragould, Arkansas going to Orting, Washington, and you get $15.50 to do that. Again, you guys, that's on top of the revenue that you get by loading out that trailer. So again, you guys hit them up, vhubapp.com. My man Xavier Campos and my friend Stacy Steen, they will be in the audience and they will be able to help you out with all of that. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Whitney Young, good fucking morning to you as well. He's out there. And are you back home this weekend, Whitney? He's watching over on YouTube. Cameron Lisk, what's up? Gosh dang it. There you are.
Here I am. We're back. Uh-oh. Chris, are you there? Well, good morning, everybody. If you can hear me, I don't know if you can hear Chris, but good morning. Happy to be here. Hey guys, it looks like we lost. Oh, here he
There
comes.
we go.
All
Okay.
right, you're back. We had some dead air. I was going to start singing and dancing, but nobody
should
needs to
have.
see that. I know.
That would have been fantastic. You know, you guys, at the end of the day, this is the reality of business. It's not always going to be perfect, and you are going to have things that are going to happen.
Shit happens.
Exactly. That's exactly it. What's going on? It's good to see you back here. I haven't seen you since you were in Phoenix at the TIA event.
I know. It's so good to see you. Thanks for having me on today, and happy holidays to you
Yeah,
and the audience.
absolutely. So you guys have had a massive couple months here. So if you want to fill people in, what happened?
Oh my God. I mean, let's go back to TIA, right? We
Mhm.
won the Shark Tank at Technovations. We were the Shark's Choice on that. We've recently been named one of the top tech startups in the industry. We closed a Series A funding round in November. We've had, what, 6 new hires this quarter. So we are growing and we are growing fast and just really kicking some ass right now. So it's a fun ride.
I love it. And here's a opportunity for you. Christian says, "Good morning. What's green screen?"
Well, I appreciate the question, Christian. Greenscreens.ai is a predictive pricing platform. We cater really to brokers and 3PLs right now, and focus on truckload freight. And really, what we're doing is using machine learning and AI along with big data to again provide a rate to our customers that is forward looking, to truly predictive, and very contextual to the individual company's buying power given the market conditions. And we're giving our customers not only that personalized rate that is catered specifically for them, but we also aggregate the data of all of our customers. And we're also giving visibility to kind of what the network overall is buying freight at, and a comparison to how your personalized rate compares to that of the market.
Mhm, mhm. So for anybody out there who's listening to this right now, Dawn, and maybe they're new, maybe they're like, "Hey, I don't have a lot of freight that I've moved so far. How could I utilize your product to win more business?"
Yeah, absolutely. So look, our smallest customer today is startup brokers, revenue $1 or even zero. And then as you grow, the use of our solution. So our smallest customer today is as I said, a startup. Largest customers would be today somewhere around 750 million in revenue, right? So we can work with companies of all sizes, but for the startup, for somebody who's just getting started, really you don't have any data. Maybe you're not booking freight, or you're booking a limited number of transactions. What we would do is we would start you out so that you only have visibility to our network rate. And that network rate is still machine learning optimized, but it's optimizing the aggregated data of the 80 or so brokers in our network, and it's kind of showing you this is what the network is buying freight at. And there's a bunch of decision support tools that we give you that go along with that. As you start booking freight, you would start sending those book loads to us, and then we start giving you a little bit more visibility to your historical information. What carriers have been moving what lanes for you, the frequency, the min max median rate, what your 30-day average has been in addition to that network rate. And then once you get to the point where you've moved, usually it's about 1,000 loads or so. That's the point at which we can start training an ML machine learning model specifically for you. And we would add in there not only that network rate, but okay, based on your buying power and your buying patterns and your carrier mix, what we think you will pay as compared to what the network is paying.
Mhm. So how does this work cross commodities? So like I'm thinking right now, hey, I some of my book of business is frozen food, some of it is dry freight, and some of it is flatbed freight because I'm just building right now. And they don't listen to the freight coach and they go after everything, even though I tell you guys to be niche-based selling. But anyways, how does that work? From that perspective?
Yeah, so we support dry reefer and flatbed today. I mean, obviously, our largest data segment is going to be van, right? There's just
Mhm.
so much more of
For
that
sure.
freight moving. But we've got probably half a dozen or so customers that are specialized in reefer freight. We've got probably a half a dozen or more that are specialized in flatbed freight. So we've got a good aggregate of data across all of those, equipment types. And one of the really powerful things about machine learning is even where there is not data density in specific markets and regions, the machine learning engine is really good at pattern recognition and understanding similarity of behaviors in different markets. So even though you may not have data in a specific market area, we will always be able to show you a suggested rate based on the understanding of those similarity models.
Yeah, no, I love it. And we're going to jump into the first article because it's going to tie into a lot of this. So, what I'm hearing a lot of right now, you guys, is listen to the freight coach teach you how to get customers and then utilize green screens to actually move freight with those customers when those opportunities come your way. Again, I'm very high on their product, you guys, because I know a lot of their users and I know them off of this whole social media world. They're friends of mine and we talk about this stuff off, in our conversations, and the amount of business that they have won from this, you guys, it's a lot. And it is, for me personally, how do you optimize all of your operations? Because again, with all of this uncertainty, especially when you're in startup mode, I'm in startup mode. I know the value of investing in the right technology partners to get the most ROI from my time, because my time is all I have. And when you have a trusted resource to help you win more business with it based on actual data. Like, it's not theory, you guys. It's not like, hey, we think this is what it might be like. No, this is actual stuff that people are utilizing in their network, and you can earn more business that way, you guys. So you got to check it out. Hands down, you got to check it out and get out there. So with that being said, though, let's break down the first article today, which is from fleetowner.com. And it's what everybody's talking about. Spot rates keep falling, but the threat of a rail strike, seasonal demand aid the market that's out there. Truckload volumes on the spot market were lower overall in November, but showed strength during the later half of the month, Thanksgiving. And it was also as shippers sought shelter from a possible rail strike that was out there. DAT's truckload index for van freight was 218, down 9.5% compared to October and 4.4% lower than year over year. The refrigerated was at 170, which was 4.5% lower than the reefer index in October and down 5%, year over year. And at 218, the flatbed also fell 11% compared to October. It was 13% higher year over year, according to DAT. There was
Uh-oh. Chris, come back. You guys definitely do not want me to dance and sing, but I will. No, I'm just kidding.
okay.
Here
We're
you are.
back.
There you are.
I apologize for this. Something must be going on in my building here that they're doing this on. But again, so with this article talking about the fluctuating spot market, the seasonality of everything that's going on, how do we utilize green screens in these moments? Because again, there are, what the rate is today is not going to be the same next week. So from like a predictive standpoint, how do you guys work with that?
Yeah. So again, I mean, we're looking at trends, and one of the things with this network rate data, we are also soon to be releasing kind of top lanes and showing kind of trending. And I will say that our data is showing pretty consistent to the article, right? So if I look at the past 2 months, it is down. However, the past 2 weeks in our top markets, we're showing kind of rates up over the past 2 weeks by anywhere from 2 to 5%, right? Over the past 2 weeks. The past month has been kind of flat
Mhm.
based on our data in our top markets. But how do you use this? I think it's, you know, understanding what direction the market is going on a predictive basis, again based on these machine learning models. And as you said, what the rate was yesterday, 2 weeks ago, 3 days ago is not what the rate's going to be tomorrow or next week. And it's really helping our customers to more accurately price, right? And you mentioned, some of your friends who are our customers. Customers are actually seeing their volumes increase, up to 20% or more, increasing win rates. We have customers that the combination of green screens from a pricing perspective and some of the automation tools out there like Hubtext Tabby or AVRL are seeing their win rates on business go from single digits up to, as much as 30% plus. But it's not only about being able to win more volume. These customers are also winning more margin on the volume that they're winning. If you think about it, if you're pricing a customer based on a rate that has a margin of error of, let's say, 20%, 22%, because it's what happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and you're adding 15% margin on top of that, you're kind of quoting the customer at 37% margin, and you're overpricing or potentially underpricing, right? But let's say you're overpricing that freight. The margin of error on our price predictions is always less than 10%. Excuse me, but for many of our customers, it's in the single digits, right? Meaning that the price we predict you're going to pay next week on a lane is generally within a single digit percentage difference of what you're actually booking the freight. And with the analysis that we've done, the margin difference to that, let's say a 20% difference versus a 7% difference, is about 45% margin, right? So that kind of leads to not just winning more business, but also winning more margin on that business.
So how are we leveraging this? Because again, I think next year is going to be a eye opener for a lot of people because it's not going to be as easy to win business as it has been in the past. It's going to take a substantial amount of effort to get in, and then again, you get in and you're judged on what you're quoting. Because no matter like price becomes secondary once service subsides the price that you are quoting, but that takes
100%.
time. Like that's not a 10, 20, 30 shipment customer. And then all of a sudden they just like stop taking other people's quotes. It takes a lot of time to get to that point. And that's why it's imperative to be competitive when you're early on. And then again, you're over servicing them with that at the exact same time. So like for me personally, as we get into Q1, and historically speaking, Q1 is god awful. All right. It is like volumes are down, rates are unpredictable. You just don't know what's going on. So how do I leverage green screens in that moment to separate myself from my competition?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're super excited about some of the secondary data analysis that we're getting now, having been in the business for 18 months and aggregating it and doing some of the analysis ourselves, and starting to arm our customers with the tools that are saying, here are your top lanes where you're buying better than the market, and here are your bottom lanes where you're buying worse than the market. And really starting to leverage that information to build better relationships, right? To your point, how do we accelerate when price is not the leading indicator, right, of whether you're going to win the business or not, right? So, where you're buying better than the market, let's go win more business there. Let's get a true partnership going with the shippers that we have in those lanes. Where you're buying worse than the market, let's go find some carrier relationships, right? Um, Great in theory. Most people will say, "Well, my reps don't have time to do that," right? My bread and butter is winning business. I got to be bidding as much as possible. But the good news is that a tool like Green Screens is going to allow you to bid on more, make better decisions more quickly, which ultimately is going to free up the time of your reps to do a little bit more of this value added. Hey, let me go build some relationships with
Mhm.
these carriers in these markets, or let me go try to establish more contractual business with these shippers where I know I'm buying better than the market, right? Or more consistent, if not contractual, right? Let me be the broker of choice.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. Because again, like what's going to happen, you guys, is we're in RFP right now. It's the height of it. And then a little bit into January is where a lot of the finalization is going to be coming. And then you guys, like a lot of the larger players who can sustain break even numbers are going to be bidding at break even for the first quarter. It is going to be hyper competitive out there. And that's the importance of this because again, like I, you can't do an asset carrier as a large asset provider as a broker. Like at the end of the day, they are always going to be, they're going to beat you at some certain points of the year. You know, that's just inevitable in those moments, especially for the large enterprise shippers who are looking for that. But again, this data is stuff that you can apply literally across the board with it. And it helps you become, for me personally, I think like the best part about all things green screens is it teaches people how to read a freight market. And that's what I'm trying to do. Because again, like you were talking about there, it's kind of stagnant for a little bit earlier in the year. Like you can tell and you can pick up these trends because you guys, when you remove the last two anomaly years that it has been from the spikes and how long it has held on, a lot of these markets don't change as much as we think. All right. But this helps you read that, and this helps you throw out and become more confident in bidding long term, because carriers and customers both want the exact same thing. They want consistency, right? They want consistent pricing and consistent service. I think we all do. And this is what you get with this, is because the more and more freight you run through this, the smarter your what did you call it? The machine learning becomes. Yeah. And then from there, it helps you bid out long term, because it's going to give you a beyond reasonable doubt rate, in my opinion, on what you can find.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Chris.
Hey, I'm just trying to, at the end of the day, I know I've been through the market that we're going to be in next year, and I know how competitive it's going to be. And you don't want to lose out on business because of what you were saying. Like, I mean, a lot of people overly inflate their pricing on stuff because they just don't know, especially when you're starting out in building, like when you don't have data and you're just, and say, I'm not knocking on a load board or anything like that, but say you can only afford one load board membership that's out there. If you don't have multiple data sets to compare information on, again, when you're talking about holidays, like let's talk about that for a second here, because again, Thanksgiving hit, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. If you pull the last 72 hours of freight off of that, you're going to bid yourself out of every single load that you bid on if you're only using one data set, because again, that's only one piece of information.
Absolutely.
And, so for me, it's like using this and then using it to your advantage. And this is what is going to help you as you're building your book of business. Cause I think like outside of how do I find shippers, I think the second top question I receive all the time is like, well, what do I bid? Like, how do I even price out on freight and everything? And again, like there are tools at your disposal right now that are going to help you win more business overall. So that article, you guys, was from fleetowner.com, and it was talking about spot rates keep falling with the seasonal demand aid and everything that's out there. And as always, you guys, all the articles that I do break down are on the Coffee with the Freight Coach podcast audio only replay, which will be available shortly after on iTunes and Spotify, as well as the Freight Coach YouTube channel. It'll be out there. And again, if you guys jump over to those other platforms, if you could do your boy a solid and subscribe and share the show, just helps us grow at the end of the day. It reaches more people, because if you guys see value in it, your network is going to see value in it as well. Here's another one we're going to talk about here. It's also from Fleet Owner, and it's chaos would ensue if Labor Department changes worker classification rules. The trucking industry and supply chains could face chaos if the Biden administration's Department of Labor changes how independent workers, such as owner-operator truck drivers, are classified by the federal government. The Department of Labor has nearly 50,000 comments to sift through. American Trucking Association called their proposal a blunderbuss approach, and I'm assuming that is the cleaned up version of it, that would shock the nation's supply chain. In comments submitted that were out there, and thousands of them filed with the Federal Register this fall included messages from owner operators against the proposed rule change. With an industry like ours, Dawn, that is heavy independent contractor laden, whether it's a independent freight broker who is an independent agent that's out there, or a dispatch company, or the owner operator themselves, like this industry is everywhere that you turn is an independent contractor. Like this would I don't know if people are even I don't think that they're talking about it enough on what this would actually do to the industry as a whole. This is like AB5 on steroids.
Right. No, absolutely. And for all the people that are out there bitching and complaining about these supply chain woes that, they think that one administration or the other is responsible for, something like this is certainly not going to happen. I mean, it would cripple our industry. I mean, these owner ops and agents are really the lifeblood of our industry. It's what kind of keeps things moving. And it kind of makes you wonder if the government is so concerned about fixing the supply chain, why is this even something that's under discussion, right?
You would think that this wouldn't be a topic of conversation if they
Yeah,
were concerned about fixing it. Because again, it's talking about this in here that the proposed rule would have immediate and long-term disruptive effects on millions of workers and thousands of businesses at a time when the economy is already facing high inflation rates. And here I'm trying to find a proponent of somebody who is in there. Yeah, because it's all right. Congressional Democrats, however, argue that the proposed rule change would protect workers and even the playing field for businesses that properly classify their workers, wrote Senator Patty Murray from Washington. Murray leads the Senate's committee that is on this, and the Biden administration attempted to withdraw Trump's administration rule that would make it easier to classify workers as independent contractors, but the federal court upheld the rule. Biden's move would have returned the Labor Department to the rules to determine worker classifications out there. Again, I don't feel the need to change this because my father was an independent contractor for 40 years. He was an owner operator. He did his own thing. He didn't like. I don't understand why we have to add red tape to any of this stuff. Because again, like I understand that there's a percentage of companies out there that take advantage of this situation. They're like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it doesn't go on because it does, but you can't punish the many to persecute the few.
100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, protection against what, right? Yes, like to your point, there are a small percentage that take advantage, but look, independent contractors or the owner operators and the agents, they chose that for a reason in most cases, right? This is a choice that they've made to be an independent contractor in the majority of the cases. They kind of know what they're in for with this. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at
Yeah.
all. Don't
It
fix it if it's not really broken.
Well, I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a money grab, It's a money grab in my opinion. I like that was my whole thing with AB5 out in California, which I still stand on as an absolute disaster. And this is at the federal level of what they're trying to do with that. I mean, who benefits from this? I have yet to find somebody who is willing to publicly speak that is a proponent of this and provide tangible data about how this improves worker rights and benefits and everything else that's out there. I have yet to find them. I will say it again. If you are a fan of this and you want to come on the show and have a healthy discussion with me about how this actually improves things, I'm open to that. I don't know everything, you guys. At the end of the day, I just want to know why there's a continued push for this because again, I feel like it's an infringement upon my freedom to choose to do business the way that I choose to do it in this country as a whole. So that article, you guys, was from Fleet.
Oh, Chris, come back.
Let's see here if this is going to do anything. Okay.
You are back. Nope, never mind. Well, folks, this is awkward. I wish I had a good story to tell. Well, I hate the dead air, everybody. Oh, my dog decided to join us. There you
No,
go. Oh, there you
yeah,
are.
that I'm sorry. We are having massive internet problems in my business, in my building right now. Um, Dawn, I know you got to jump and everything. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll try and get this edited up and cleaned out as much as possible to
Of
post out
course.
there. Thank you
Of
so much for
course.
joining me, though, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Thanks. You too, Chris. Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye,
we'll talk to you
everybody.
soon. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.